All right, in this section, I'm going to be going over the basic layout and the basic use of the files as they relate to Photopea. Okay, so as I mentioned in a previous video, Photopea is a browser-based program. You can access it by going to photopea.com. It does not require payment. It doesn't, that's why there's ads over here on the right side. It does not require an account the way that like Adobe would. I'm just going to open up a document. So you can open up any standard image format into Photopea. So that would include formats like a PSD, JPEG, PNG, other kinds of, raster formats as such. So I'm going to go under File, Open, and I'm just going to open up just any, the files from today. So I'm going to go under navigation. By the way, I didn't chat about this, but I want to talk about. So when I give you guys lab files, they will be inside of what's called a zip file. Okay. And I want to show you how to unzip them in case you're unaware. The way it would work is if you click on the file and download it, I already have it, or maybe I don't. I think I did it yesterday and I deleted it. I'm going to click on this, which is a zip file, and I'm going to download it. Okay. And what's going to happen here is if I double click, or okay, sorry, let me back up. This is a zip file, okay? And my files for today are inside of this, and I want to talk about how to access that, okay? And the way that we're going to access this is it depends on whether you are running OS X, meaning you're running a Mac laptop or a computer, or whether you're running Windows, which means it would be a non-Mac, a Microsoft operating system. If it's a Mac, you can simply take any zip file and double click on it. 1, 2, and you can see that it unzips it. Okay. And inside are the files that we're going to work with. Actually, let me unzip it because I want to show you a little bit later how to zip it. I'll make a separate video where I include this. If you want to unzip it on a Windows machine, it's different. It's not hard, but all you really would do, is you would right click. I won't have this here because I'm not running Windows at the moment, but you can basically unzip it. There's an option that says send to, and then you can essentially unzip it. There'll be an option that says uncompress, and then you can uncompress it to your desktop. Okay, and I'll make a separate video about that. Um, Later on, there are going to be times that you need to submit me a zip file. So if you want to make a zip file, it's actually very simple. Once again, it depends on whether you're running OS X, meaning you're running a Mac computer, like Mac laptop or something like that, or whether you're running Windows. On a Mac, you can compress something into a zip file simply by selecting any file or folder and right-clicking and choosing the option that says compress, and then whatever the name of the folder is. If I do that, it would actually make a zip file. And this is a zip file. You can tell it because it says .zip. If this was Windows, and I'll make a video about this, you would right click, choose send to, and then there should be an option that says compress or zip, I believe, and that would be and then you would run through the little wizard as it has, and that would allow you to compress the file. Okay. Anyway, let's go back to Photopea. So I'm going to open up one of the files. And I want to kind of just go over the user interface here because you guys are going to be using something like this to edit photos. So over here, these are the menus. This has, common commands like file, so new file, open, save as. This would let you export it as different raster formats, which we'll talk about. Um, Here's where you can do things like copy and paste. These are image properties. We're not going to get too deep into Photopea or any raster program. We only really have 2 days, but I'm just kind of going over some of the basics. Over here, these are our toolbars. Toolbars have tools that we can take advantage of. These might be things like selecting some of our pixels to copy and paste them or something along those lines, or using tools to, crop an image or, things like that to, play around with foreground and background color. Over here are panels. Panels have additional information about our composition. So, we're not, like I said, once again, we're not going to get too deep into this program or Photoshop, whichever one you're using. But these panels have information about your composition. It might be color information. It might be something what we call layers, which we'll talk about. And so if you want to be able to see that, that would be over here on the right side. And then finally, in the center, let me, I have so many drawings here. Let me clean it up to make it a little nicer. This is our general composition. So if you were trying to, whatever you see here, this is if you were to export this out of Photopea to eventually something like Adobe After Effects, this is whatever you see here, that is what your composition would look like. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go through. So now that we have sort of a basic understanding of user interface of the general program, let's just talk about how to navigate. Navigate means how to get around your composition. You can navigate in Photopea by choosing this magnifying glass, which is at the bottom of your toolbar. It's called the zoom tool, I believe. Yep. And the way it works is when I put my cursor over here, you might see the little plus sign there. That means I'm going to zoom in or magnify my view. So I'm zooming in. To zoom out, there's a couple ways to do that. You might notice up here, these are my tool options. I can click on the negative, which will allow me to demagnify or zoom out. Another way to do this is if you're zoomed in using the magnify in, I have the plus sign, hold down the option or the alt key, and you'll notice it turns into the negative. This would also work the other way. If I was using the negative and I hold down the option, it would turn into the positive. So you can use that to kind of zoom in and out. Another way to do this would be there's a keyboard shortcut, which is the plus command or control plus, zooms in, and command or the command or the control key plus minus, the plus and minus are to the left of your delete key or your backspace, usually in the upper right-hand corner. That would sort of be the keyboard shortcut to zoom out. Okay. If you're zoomed in on Photopea, you might want to be able to pan around your document. The way you can do that is by using this tool here called the hand tool. This allows you to click and pan around your document. If you're using a different tool, for instance, if I was using like the move tool, the marquee tools, we'll talk about not today, but in the Wednesday session, hold down the space bar and you'll notice that is a keyboard shortcut for the hand tool. Okay. There is also in Photopea something called the navigator. The navigator allows you to zoom in and out and to pan as one tool. It's kind of like if the zoom tool and the hand tool had a baby, this would be the result of that. This is my navigator. It shows me my application or shows me my composition. This slider down here allows me to zoom in and out. Drag to the right, you can see I'm zooming in. Drag to the left, you can see I'm zooming out. If I'm zoomed in above 100%, you might notice that I have this red viewfinder, as we call it. If I put my cursor above this, you'll notice that now I can pan around my scene. Okay, so these are different ways you can navigate through your document by using the zoom tool, the hand tool, or by using this navigator panel. The panel isn't usually open by default. If you want to know how I access that, I went to Window, Navigator. Another way to do this is over here. These are little icons that represent the various panels. The thing here that kind of looks like a little compass, that's why it's called it's short for Navigator. If I click on that, it opens it up. If I click on it again, it will close it. Okay. All right, so why don't you guys try that out? Be able to, open up photopea.com if that's the one you're using. Unzip the files, open up the exercise one into it, be able to, navigate around. Okay.